Hello everyone, my name is Prerna and I'm happy to welcome all of you at the 2021 UN Women India's WEPs Awards, the only regional awards initiative recognizing private sector action for gender equality aligned with the Women's Empowerment Principles or WEPs. In the year 2010, UN Women and UN Global Compact Network came together to develop a set of 7 principles to guide businesses and enable them strengthen gender responsiveness of their policies and practices at the workplace, marketplace, communities towards a more equal, inclusive and sustainable future. Today, over 5,500 CEOs globally have made commitments to advance women's right to equal economic opportunities and are taking actions to foster their leadership. In India, UN Women through the We Empower Asia program, funded by and in partnership with the European Union, has mobilized close to 300 CEOs to commit to the WEPs and take actions to address gender gaps in women's economic opportunities in businesses. The second edition of the India WEPs Awards today, hosted by UN Women's We Empower Asia program, with the European Union as donor and partner, recognize exemplary efforts by the companies in promoting gender equality by defying discriminatory norms, practices, and biases, and by enabling equal opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, when women are empowered, economies, societies, and communities thrive. Today's ceremony is indeed a moment for celebration as we hear from businesses about concrete steps taken by them to empower women at the workplace, marketplace, and communities. It is my pleasure to invite Ms. Susan Ferguson, Country Representative, UN Women India, to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Amitabh Kant, CEO Niti Aayog, Honourable Ambassador Ugo Astuto, Delegation of the EU to India, Mr. Ganesha Singh, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Mr. Deepak Premnarayan, Chairperson, UN Women's Business Sector Advisory Group, a Resident Coordinator for the UN in India, Ms. Deirdre Boyd, and my colleague Dagmar Walter from the ILO, Ms. Shabnam Siddique, CEO, Global Compact Network in India, our expert panel, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 2021 UN Women India Women's Empowerment Principles, or the WEPs Awards, with critical allies including Niti Aayog, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and the European Union, who are both a donor and a revered partner in the initiative. Our efforts to empower women in the corporate sector have strengthened many times. The pandemic has shown ways in which women are critical to managing the pandemic's effects for everyone and in every country. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis, women have shown decisive leadership in steering their countries and communities with effective responses to the pandemic, whether it's managing their business and households or standing at the front line as healthcare workers. As health systems have struggled to stem the onslaught of COVID cases, and schools and care services have shut down or locked down for long periods of time, women have stepped in to provide support for families and communities, often at the expense of their own mental and physical health. For example, school closures have left more than 700 million children in the region in need of care, with women primarily responsible for accommodating this increased burden in childcare and schooling at home, as well as balancing their many other responsibilities. More women are at home due to COVID-19, and data around the world overwhelmingly confirms an increase in domestic violence during this time. In India, the National Commission for Women has recorded a 2-fold rise in gender-based violence since the first national lockdown. Even before the pandemic, major economies in the region, including India, China, Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam, were all experiencing declines in female labour force participation rates. In India, for example, the female labour force participation rate stands at around 20%, with over 90% of women working in the unprotected informal economy. Over the years, the Government of India have taken initiatives to increase women's participation in the workforce at different levels of organisations, starting from notifications removing restrictions on women's right to work at night in factories or in underground mines. The government has also encouraged the appointment of women to boards, and there is of course a clear and comprehensive maternity benefits scheme and protection from sexual harassment in the workforce. There are progressive laws and policies in place to change the very fabric of business operations, including making workplaces safe for women and girls. Women's economic empowerment is really gaining traction with corporations, showing an interest in promoting gender equality through their policies and practices. With over 5,000 CEOs committing to the United Nations Women's Empowerment Principles globally and close to 300 in India, companies worldwide have demonstrated their commitment to promoting gender equality in the workplace, markets, and wider communities. For instance, in boardrooms, through supply chains, through corporate social responsibility activities, and at the core of business practices. Businesses are really coming on board. Despite a very challenging year, we received more than 130 applications from 90 companies for these awards, which is phenomenal. We very much look forward to celebrating the extraordinary interventions by the winners today. These winners reaffirm that investing in women is good for business because economic growth is good for business, and women are a key to economic growth. For those who are winners today, your initiatives really represent precisely the multidimensional collaborative action that we urgently need to support and nurture women talent within companies, across supply chains, and the community. We congratulate you and invite you to deepen your resolve to benefit even more women as we build our way back to an economy that is vibrant, inclusive, and green. To all the companies that applied for the WEPs Awards this year, we look forward to welcoming you into the WEPs family and to continue our engagement beyond the awards to take forward the women's empowerment principles as a whole. UN Women recognises the private sector as a key partner for empowering women, and together we can push forward change that is bold, inclusive, innovative, and sustainable. Once again, thank you all very much for being part of the celebration today.
Thank you, Ms. Ferguson, for delivering the welcome address and setting the course for the rest of the celebration today. Investing in women is good for business. Congratulations to UN Women to drive this agenda forward with the corporate sector. I now invite Ms. Dedra Boyd, UN Resident Coordinator, UN India, to deliver opening remarks.
Good afternoon. Congratulations to all the winners, and also congratulations to UN Women and the European Union for this important initiative during this very challenging year. The hard work of shattering glass ceilings for women is essentially, at its core, human rights work. Empowerment is not help, it's the guarantee of freedom and dignity to make choices, to avail of opportunities, and to allow women to have the chance to make contributions to the social and economic life of our communities. Our work needs to start at the top, to fix the mobility pathways, the cultures, the factory floors that lead women to hold only 28% of managerial positions globally. I want to commend India for mandating through the 2013 Companies Act for all publicly listed firms to have at least one woman director. This is great, but we still have a long way to go. The award winners have shown us how to translate the women's empowerment principles into concrete business actions, how to diversify the talent pool, how to manage offices that let women realize their fullest potential, and how to empower communities where businesses operate. These real-world examples are what give life to the women's empowerment principles. So congratulations once again to all the champions, and we hope your example will motivate others to push for a gender equitable new normal. Thank you.
I now invite Mr. Amitabh Kant, CEO, Niti Aayog, Government of India, to deliver his address.
His Excellency Hugo Astuto, Ambassador of the EU to India, Susan Ferguson, Country Representative, UN Women India, Deirdre Boyd, the UN Resident Coordinator, UN India, distinguished guests, fellow jury members, dignitaries and friends. I'm truly delighted to address you here today at the UN Women's Empowerment Principles 2021 India Awards ceremony. We are living in unprecedented times. The internet and technological innovations have created conditions for tremendous societal change. For us to maximize the human potential, we need a society that is inclusive and equitable. To achieve this, we need to evolve our value systems to allow for them to take on a more enlightened characteristic that can advocate and enable the necessary societal changes. The Women's Empowerment Principles framework is an important initiative in the context of mainstreaming gender equality. These awards are pertinent to give the private sector the necessary push to improve in some of the critical areas. The measures under the framework will not only help level the playing field and help individuals at a personal level, but will have a cascading impact on the larger economy. There was a study which was conducted a few years ago, which had estimated that close to $770 billion could be added to the Indian economy if gender inequality is fully addressed. The mainstreaming these principles is helping us build the foundation for a more equal future, and its importance cannot be overstated. I would like to acknowledge the importance of the groundwork that the European Union, UN Women and the We Power Asia team have undertaken in this context. As a jury member, it was wonderful experience to be privy to some of the exceptional work that the nominees have undertaken to mainstream these principles. I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to the leaders who will be recognized today as winners. Your contributions to furthering the women's empowerment principles is truly exceptional. The impact of your efforts will be critical in paving the way for a more equal world and a more equal society. Thank you very much.
I now invite Mr. Deepak Premnarayan to give his address.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm truly honored and delighted to be a part of this ceremony today, which demonstrates exceptional initiatives by companies that are paving a way for women's leadership and effective participation in businesses. Gender equality is the backbone to society, and any intervention and strategy employed towards creating sustainable platforms and inclusive economies and societies is a must. We have witnessed during COVID-19, the pandemic, how adversely it has hurt the economies and societies. But at the center of all this has been the woman, in her role in addressing and recovering from the crisis as care workers, innovators, leaders, and providers of services. But to rise back in the wake of COVID-19 calls for conscious efforts by all of us so that we can halt the reversal and this hard-won gains that were there in gender equality and women empowerment are not lost out. What is important is to recognize that COVID-19 impacted everyone: CEOs, managers, laborers, workforce, professionals, and in their personal lives. But the distinction between men and women has stood out even more. Women disadvantaged in labor force makes them more vulnerable to the economic fallout of pandemics, including layoffs, etc. Women, unfortunately, when there is a crisis such as the pandemic, they have less access to financial capital, to property, to fixed assets. And as a result of that, rebounding and getting back to stream makes it difficult. A point in case is that there are pockets within our country where women, when they inherit property, they are isolated until they say that it wasn't that the property, they pass on the papers because they are blamed that there is witchcraft that has made them get hold of this property. I'm very glad to share with you that as chairperson of the United Nations Women Business Sector Advisory Council, that my colleagues and I have had our main focus, which is on gender equality and women economic empowerment. A point in case being that there have been almost 40 million women who have graduated from the self-help groups, and many of them are wanting to fly. But this missing middle doesn't have access to collateral, doesn't have access to somebody to underwrite loans for them. So they land up borrowing money between 18 to 36%, which sets them up for failure. So what we have done is that between the United Nations Women, World Bank and State Bank, we have put a partnership, and we aim to raise inexpensive working capital for these women at 9%. And that is through livelihood bonds. But in the interim, what we have done is already loans have started to get dispersed. And the other day, I was pleasantly surprised when Susan Ferguson, the new head of UN Women in India, rang up from Odisha, extremely excited that, listen, the loan dispersal has started. Now, this will make a difference in their lives. But if I might, that almost 1,000 women between the World Bank and UN Women have been identified for this microfinance till date between Bihar, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. So to prevent, let's say, or to participate in gender responsive procurement policies and practices, and not only to provide growth opportunities for women-led businesses, but also to make a huge business sense by diversifying the supplier base of companies is our objective through the WEPs. Now, to give you a point in case, that Voltas in Gujarat have set up a new factory where they only have women workforce, and the UN Women has helped them to recruit these women. Through Goldman Sachs, there is a training program being set up for artificial intelligence for women. Through NASSCOM, there are a whole lot of skill sets that are being provided for women to participate and get higher income to bring about more gender equality. With Tata Power in Madhya Pradesh and Odisha, almost 5,000 women have been trained as solar technicians, which brings independence, which brings a source of income. So by becoming signatories to WEPs, each one of us at the BSAC, and as well as the wider business community, has demonstrated our commitment to address gender gaps at the workplace and marketplace. And today, it gives me immense pleasure to be a part of this celebration that recognizes these commitments and actions. I look forward to learning about good interventions and initiatives that companies have taken to support women's empowerment amid COVID-19. But before I wind up, I'd like to leave a thought on the table. We participate, it's just not supply chains, it's just not skilling of women, but it's also creating awareness in communities where children, particularly a girl child who's born with deformity, is not neglected. I'll very quickly wrap it up that there is a deformity known as clubfoot, where a child is born with one or both feet turned backwards. Invariably, the mother gets blamed. They say it is witchcraft, and she's many a times thrown out of the house. Why not the husband? He's also equally responsible for the child. And I know of instances where girls, 12, 15 days old, have been buried alive, but fortunately were rescued and have been cured. So this distinction and this awareness in community must also come in, and that's the role of corporates also. My sincerest congratulations to winners and to each of the WEP signatories who have committed to make a difference in the life of women, and consequently to our economy, society, and community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prem Narayan. Thank you for sharing your insights. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in inviting our special guest, His Excellency Hugo Astuto, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary Head of Delegation of the European Union to India, to deliver keynote address.
Hello. It's a great pleasure for me to address the second edition of the Women's Empowerment Principles Award, organized by UN Women, to recognize exemplary business practices for gender equality in India. The European Union is a proud partner to UN Women. Together, we have launched the program We Empower Asia, aimed at encouraging the private sector to expand economic participation and business opportunities for women in 7 Asian countries, including India. I was impressed to read about the overwhelming response for last year's award. Despite the pandemic situation, India received the highest number of applications, close to 150 applications. In the end, 21 companies in India have received an award for their exemplary company policies to promote gender equality. My compliments to the top winners in the 6 categories. And I also understand that the response for this year's award has been very strong. And this demonstrates that we have a valuable ally in the private sector in our efforts to achieve gender equality. I'm not surprised because we are speaking here of one of the smartest investment of all, the investment in gender equality. Worldwide, less than 50% of working age women have joined, compared to 75% of working age males. In India, the female labor force participation has declined, and the pandemic has had a further disproportionate impact on women's economic participation. The International Monetary Fund estimates that equal participation of women in the workforce could increase India's GDP by 27%. And this because when more women work, economies grow, and the positive effects benefit everyone. The European Union and its member states are determined to lead by example. Last year, we adopted a new action plan on gender equality and women's empowerment. And through this action plan, we called for a more gender equal world, where women and girls can fully enjoy their human rights. Strengthening and forging new alliances and new partnerships, in particular with the private sector, is key to achieve this objective. The private sector has a leading role to play in advancing gender equality in the recovery from the pandemic and beyond. More gender-balanced workplaces also lead to more successful and efficient companies. In short, everybody wins. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Astuto. I now request Ms. Shabnam Siddiqui, Executive Director, United Nations Global Compact Network India, to deliver her address.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. As the current UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres strongly says, gender inequality is the overwhelming injustice of our age and the biggest human rights challenge we face. Business and government leaders across the globe agree to this, that gender equality is a key priority area for business and the future of work. It is not only a catalyst for sustainable and inclusive development, but also a proven driver of enhanced business performance. Yet, at the current pace of change, it will take multiple generations to close the economic gender gap. To accelerate the progress, the United Nations Global Compact Network India is calling on corporate efforts to increase women's representation and leadership in businesses, create inclusive business models, and invest in women's economic empowerment programs. The Women Empowerment Principles are a set of principles offering guidance to businesses on how to promote gender equality and women's empowerment in the workplace, marketplace, and community. Established by the UN Global Compact and the UN Women, the WEPs are informed by international labor and human rights standards and grounded in the recognition that businesses have a stake in and responsibility for gender equality and women empowerment. The 2021 WEPs Award ceremony, curated by UN Women, recognize exemplary business practices by the private sector for gender equality under the categories of leadership commitment, youth leadership, gender equal workplaces, gender responsive marketplaces, transparency and reporting, and community engagement and partnerships. Across all the categories, 3 women-led small, medium, and micro enterprises will be recognized as champions for the excellent work they are doing to contribute to the economy and women's empowerment. That in itself is commendable. I wish the 2021 India WEPs Award ceremony great success. Every woman is a winner, as well as the men who support enterprising women. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Siddiqui, for your kind words. 2021 UN Women India WEPs Awards were not possible without the stellar role played by the jury in selecting the award winners. Let's meet the jury and hear from their insights on the awards process and applications.
Warm greetings from the International Labour Organization. I have worked with the ILO for 22 years, and together with my colleagues, we strive to support countries, including you all, to advance social justice and promote decent work, in line with the Sustainable Development Goals. Reading and assessing the applications from various businesses and leaders, I am always encouraged to see the many good ideas and initiatives presented. No doubt, this time the great engagement and solidarity during the COVID-19 pandemic transpired as a major theme. Many focused on health and food. However, I was impressed by one initiative that focused on informing the workers, and especially women workers, about their rights in this situation, and also how to access the different relief measures, programs and schemes that were set up for them. I found that empowering, as it made workers aware and provided concrete solutions for how to exercise and access their rights. The Women's Empowerment Principle Award plays a significant role in providing businesses and workers a platform to demonstrate and show their initiatives and advancements. The promotion and visibility in turn inspires others. For me, you are all champions, and I urge you to continue your efforts and share your achievements widely. With our warmest congratulations from the ILO to all participants, winners and runners-up.
I'm extremely grateful to the WEP Awards for bringing me on board as a judge and giving me the opportunity to learn so much through this application and grading process. I've had the opportunity to read through so many incredible applications that were sent in from some very, very, very impressive people who've been doing such great work across sectors. I think it was really a learning experience for me to learn and educate myself more about the different areas in our country that need more work when it comes to improving the gender equality index. And I think the WEP Awards are an incredible way to do that. It gives people an opportunity to be accountable towards this future that we're trying to build of an equitable society and also an equitable workplace for women. And I really believe that the WEP Awards are a great way not just to give people that responsibility to take that step, but also to acknowledge, to accept, to applaud them for the incredible work and steps that they have taken so far. I also feel that these awards give people an opportunity to increase the scope of their work, to scale it. It also gives them the motivation they need to keep going. One particular application that stood out to me the most and one that impressed me the most was from Aarti Harbhajanka, who was nominated on behalf of Primus Partners, for her work and commitment in the development and real estate sector. This in particular is a sector where, we don't tend to see a lot of women leading and championing a lot of causes. And I was so happy to see that she has done some great work for the Women and Child Development Department of the Government of Maharashtra. Her work has mainly been focused around digitally transforming Anganwadis, supporting childcare institutions, and a lot of self-help groups that have, over 1 million women and adolescent girls. She has also done a lot of work in the real estate and housing industry in regards to women. And I think in general, the development sector, our cities, our societies need to be designed in a way that make women feel more comfortable, safe, protected, and encouraged. And I think that Aarti's work is a step in that direction. And I was so happy to see that. I hope that we can support her in every way we can to make sure that her goal is a reality. And I think she's done some incredible work, and I'm very, very grateful to be given this opportunity to have read, learned about her work. And I hope that, I could meet her someday in the future and offer a helping hand.
Hello, everybody. I want to thank the organizers for including me as part of the jury of this very, very important awards for women empowerment. I had the privilege of going through some amazing case studies of both individuals and companies. I can categorize them into those two types of entries that I managed to study, especially when it comes to the individuals. Many of these young women and their stories of what they're doing in this country was very, very, very inspiring for me personally. They come from great families, they come from privileged backgrounds, and yet they've given up their corporate jobs to take something on which they truly believe in, which impacts society. They're not doing it as a hobby. And I found that to be genuinely inspiring. And some of the case studies are new. Their results may not have fully come into place yet because they are new initiatives. And in those kind of cases, I managed to look for or base my judgment on the potential of those ideas and what it can mean to our country. And some of the case studies had already been established for a while, and therefore they were doing very well. But all the stories of these individuals was very, very awe-inspiring. And I believe that if these are the kind of young women coming up in our country, the future of India is in very, very good hands. And on the second level, there was the corporates and the companies who had taken on the mission of women empowerment, gender equality, equal opportunities, beyond just treating it like a CSR initiatives. I saw case studies where they had actually built it into their organizational culture, their processes, and they had transformed their organization by this initiative. And I believe that this is something that the country really, really needs. India is far behind many parts of the world when it comes to gender equality. It's something I personally very strongly believe in. And looking at some of these company case studies was very, very, very encouraging. I learned a lot as a corporate leader because that's what we are also doing in our company. And I'm also always looking for ideas. And many of these case studies gave me fantastic ideas on what I can take back to my own organization. I hope that all these case studies who have been entered would be shared to the public, because I believe very strongly that people inspire people. And I think that if these case studies are shown to people, they will create many, many more leaders in the future. So once again, I thank the organizers for including me on the jury for this. I hope it becomes an annual event, and I truly consider it to be a privilege to be part of it. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. In addressing the WEP award for the current year, as some of you might be aware, one of the issues of our times when we look at corporate responsibility is the element of business and human rights. And I'm immediately reminded that the foundation of business and human rights goes back to the declaration of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which may well have been a universal declaration of the rights of man had it not been for the interventions and contributions of some of the world's most amazing women at that time, including from India, Dr. Hamsa Mehta. Coming to the 21st century, we have before us for the last decade from the United Nations Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. And it is our hope as we enter the second decade of these guiding principles that contemporary issues, in our context, the empowerment of women, takes into full consideration the framework provided globally for looking at the rights of women at the workplace, in the community, in the supply chain, in the marketplace, and wherever there is a connection with business. Bringing focus to the empowerment of women with a rights-based approach, I congratulate UN Women in the number of years that it has instituted an award for the best practice amongst companies. And as a member of the jury for the present year, it was a pleasure to go through the detailed applications from where it's very clear that the leading companies that have taken the trouble to apply have indeed not regarded the issue before us, women's empowerment, as something philanthropic, but as a core part of their business sustainability and success. And I congratulate every company that has taken the trouble to make an application this year, and in particular, those companies that the collective jury have adjudged in their various categories as being the prime performers this year. It's very much my hope that the information that we get from these companies in terms of their application feed into case studies in business schools and other places that can be taught, can be shared with other companies who are earlier than some of the more mature companies that have applied this year. In conclusion, big congratulations and thank you very much to each company for making your application, and the full support of all of us as jury members and collectively our UN Women, the institutors of the award, are always available to further guide and support your journey. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ganesha Kumar Singh could not join us today. He has sent a message on this occasion as follows. At the very outset, I would like to congratulate UN Women for hosting the WEPs Awards for the second consecutive year. The past year has been a tough one for everyone. Our economies are passing through testing times, and yet many have strived to promote gender equity in the workplace. These awards recognize the achievements of businesses who are actively engaged in promoting women empowerment. I applaud the stellar performance of these businesses, their resilience, innovation, and the commitment to their leader to work for gender equity. It's been a privilege to have been part of the awards process. We at the Ministry of Corporate Affairs have tried to do our bit. Under my chairmanship, we have revised and updated the Business Responsibility Report to align it with NGRBC, UNGP and SDG. The Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report expects companies to disclose information on gender and elaborate on the initiatives it has undertaken to encourage conducive environment for women's participation in their organizations. It is our constant endeavor that policies of the government reflect the principles of equality enshrined in our country's constitution and its preamble. As a member of the jury for WEPs Awards, it was very heartening to see the efforts of corporates in the areas of making their workplaces gender inclusive, working towards gender inclusive marketplaces and engaging with the communities and fostering long-term partnerships in society. I would also like to mention the role of youth leaders who wielded the baton, rose to the occasion and pivoted their businesses amidst the uncertainty that COVID brought with it. I would also like to congratulate all the winners, participants, each one who has been part of the WEPs Awards to have started this initiative. Extraordinary times calls for extraordinary measures. The winners have truly proved this dictum through their deeds and actions. May they continue to tread on this path. I thank our esteemed jury members for sharing their thoughts and insights. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move towards the 2021 UN Women India WEPs Awards announcement. This year, for the 2021 India WEPs Awards, we are delighted to share that despite the challenging times due to the pandemic, UN Women received a strong response with 136 applications from 90 companies. Our first category for the awards is Leadership Commitment. This category recognizes leaders in corporations who've set strong corporate commitments inclusive of progressive policies, regulations, or practices that aim to promote gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and/or community. Ladies and gentlemen, the second runner-up in this category is Ms. Jaya Virwani, Diversity and Inclusiveness Leader, Global Delivery Services, EY India. Her award-winning initiative is her strive towards building a pipeline for women's leadership at EY.
Hello, my name is Jaya and I lead the Diversity and Inclusiveness agenda for EY's Global Delivery Services. I wanted to thank the UNWEP for the runner-up award for the Leadership Commitment category. I am a passionate gender advocate and champion, and I've had the opportunity as an EY leader to influence change in our society and larger community by bringing the conversation of gender and equity to the front. The one thing that's non-negotiable for me when it comes to gender parity and women's empowerment is progress on the agenda, which requires intent and action coupled with sound measurement principles and requires consistent effort and an unrelenting leadership team. That's what will help us accelerate progress on gender parity and in turn build a better working world.
Thanks, Ms. Virwani. The first runner-up in the Leadership Commitment category is Ms. Radhika Ramesh, Executive Vice President and Head of Global Delivery Center, Cloud and Infrastructure Services, Gemini Technology Services India Private Limited. Ms. Ramesh spearheads Sakhi Drishtikon, a unique program that envisions digital education across the globe. In India, it trains rural women from economically weak backgrounds with mobility challenge and enable employment in the IT sector.
I'm deeply honored to be considered for this prestigious award, a true symbol to motivate us and charge us up to go further and beyond. For an organization to grow, friends, innovation is a must. To innovate, diverse thinking is a must. To think differently, we need to have a diverse workforce. I will never ever accept the excuse of not having competent women candidates for a position. I strongly encourage my teams to go that extra mile to network and cull out these high potential women talent. It's just that we need to dig a little harder, and we as leaders have to play a very critical role in enabling. And this means diversity at all layers, and we need to start right from the top. At Gemini India, the entire ecosystem is anchored around creating and nurturing a balanced workforce. To mention some of the key programs, Winspire, which is a program to inspire young women to take up leadership roles. Women in Tech India, focusing on women to take up strong technical career path. Take Charge, a program that enables women to take the mantle and move strongly ahead on their career path. Here I would like to take a moment to make a special mention of our Sakhi Drishtikon project, which is in line to Women Empowerment Principle number 6, Community Initiatives and Advocacy, where we are touching the lives and making a difference for people from underprivileged background. This is an initiative to train and hire educated rural women in India from economically weak background with a location mobility challenge. The key here was that we leverage the new normal working to create not just jobs, but a career for these women in niche information technology areas like cloud, data center, and cyberspace. We together can definitely make a huge difference in bringing about a balanced workforce in India.
Thank you and congratulations, Ms. Radhika Ramesh. We now move towards the winner. And the winner in Leadership Commitment category is Ms. Divya Hegde, founder, Bairu Environmental Services. Divya believes women are key agents for development in rural India. Bairu enables women's socio-economic empowerment by leveraging the power of design, technology, linguistic and regional context in Karnataka.
At Beru, we strongly believe that women's empowerment is a critical aspect of achieving gender equality. And gender issues don't just pertain to women alone. It's got to do with attitudes and actions of all genders in society and also the relationships between them. Education is a key non-negotiable when it comes to gender equality and women's empowerment. An educated girl is more likely to have a smaller family, have healthier children, and send her own children to school. She's also got more opportunities in terms of earning income and participating in political processes. Of course, her health and safety are also important non-negotiables. Unequal power in sexual partnerships or even gender-based violence or opportunities for health education. Another key aspect is women's economic and political empowerment. We women comprise more than 50% of the world's population, but only own 1% of the world's wealth. At all levels, including home and the public arena, women are widely underrepresented as decision makers. And if you look at legislators across the world, women are outnumbered 4:1. So women's political participation is crucial to achieving gender equality. At Beru, we strongly believe that women are key agents for development in rural India. Gender justice is inextricably linked to climate justice, and the world, we need to leverage women as its most important and powerful ally to fighting climate change. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our second category for the awards is Gender Inclusive Workplace. This category recognizes achievements that corporations have demonstrated in adopting relevant gender inclusive measures in the workplace. This award goes to a company, and our second runner-up for this category is Dr. Reddy's. Dr. Reddy's Empowering You and the award-winning initiative endeavors to increase women and minority representation in senior leadership roles across the organization.
Gender diversity is an important part of inclusiveness when you're running an organization. For all companies in the world today, it is not just something good to have, but it's a minimal requirement that we pay attention to diversity. There's also a competitive advantage for being an organization which embraces diversity. Today, we need perspectives from different kinds of people, not just gender, but various social strata, ethnic diversity. All of that adds to perspectives which would be lost if we were not a diverse organization. So diversity is not just about justice, but it's also a competitive advantage. In many organizations, especially those in manufacturing, the gender diversity has not taken root, and even with all the measures that we take today, the world is really unfavorable to women. If you look at the numbers, especially in organizations like ours, which are manufacturing and marketing intensive, the numbers don't look very good. We are going to change that. We are determined to incorporate all the policies, all the enabling factors, as well as practices in recruitment, promotion, and all of that to embrace diversity, to promote diversity, and make gender equality and inclusion a part of our DNA. We are doing a number of different things to promote diversity, including policies in maternity, paternity, holidays, flexible work arrangements, and many other things that progressive organizations around the world are doing. We're also hard-coding the aspect of diversity into our hiring practices and promotion practices. Apart from that, we have many practices which we are trying to create, which will be women-friendly and also minority-friendly. It's a strong belief that we have that diversity will help us become a better company in terms of our abilities, our capabilities, and our perspectives. So gender diversity is really an essential component for us as we run our business.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. The first runner-up in this category is Gemini Technology Services India Private Limited. The winning initiative of Gemini Winspire provides equal growth opportunities and favorable working conditions for all colleagues.
Thank you UN Women and WEPs for the recognition. We are proud at the same time, humbled to have received the award. Gender equality has a vast bearing on the growth, competitiveness and future readiness of organizations and economies worldwide. At Capgemini, gender diversity isn't just about having the right mix in the organization, but to also ensure we have level playing field for all to achieve their career aspirations and organizational milestones. At Capgemini in India, gender diversity is a critical priority to ensure we create a sustainable pipeline of the best available talent and increase women representation at all levels. As an example, we have the Winspire program, which is a gender balance program at Capgemini, providing equal opportunity growth and favorable working conditions for all our colleagues, enabling our women colleagues to achieve their career aspirations and organizational milestones. After all, we also look at inclusion, which is getting the best diverse ideas on the table and then enabling the businesses with the best solutions as a result of the same. The program is in line with WEP's 7 principles and focuses on 4 pillars: recruit, retain, develop, and promote, to ensure we create a sustainable pipeline of the best available talent and increase women representation at all levels. As part of the Winspire program, we have multiple interventions, namely developmental programs like the Women Sponsorship Program, the Take Charge Program, the She Leads Program, and We Empower, to name a few. This basically helps our women colleagues to develop and also builds a pipeline for the future for the organization. Fair Welcome is another program that supports women colleagues during their maternity phase. Capgemini, being an equal opportunity employer, welcomes employees who want to transition to workplace post-career break, and we have the Captivate program. Once again, we thank UN Women and WEPs for this recognition and congratulate all the winners. Thanks once again.
And now it's time to announce the winner. And the winner in Gender Inclusive Workplace category is RBS Services Private India Limited. RBS promotes women's career development and advancement in leadership by building an internal pool of colleagues with the required skills and capabilities to help them advance through specially designed programs tailored to each level of their career journey.
We are delighted and honored to be recognized as India WEPs Award winner in Gender Inclusive Workplace category. I would like to thank UN Women for recognizing our commitment to championing gender equality and supporting UN Women's empowerment principles. At NetWest Group, we are really proud to be building a purpose-led, value-driven, diverse and inclusive organization where every colleague can bring their best self to work. As an organization, we are convinced that a gender-balanced workforce and an inclusive culture is not just the right thing to do, but is also good for our business. It helps us attract and retain a broader pool of high-quality talent and enhances our overall performance through more collaborative and impactful decision-making, which in turn has a positive impact on our bottom line. In my role as a gender-balanced exec sponsor for NetWest Group India, I'm delighted to witness great collaborative and passionate efforts by our D&I council members, our employee-led networks, our business leaders who ensure our inclusion ambition and strategy is translated into everyday action. Some of our initiatives like gender-neutral policies, women sponsorship program, women comeback program, mentoring program, women in tech initiatives, and structured leadership development interventions act as catalysts that help our women colleagues maximize their career potential. With consistent effort in last few years at NetWest Group India, women participation at non-managerial level has significantly improved. But we do acknowledge we have a lot more work to do to achieve our ambition to have a full gender work balance at all levels across the organization. We are fully committed to continue our endeavor to practice and support the UN Women's Empowerment principles within our enterprise and indeed in the wider community. Thank you once again for this award. It means a lot to us. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our third category for the awards is Gender Responsive Marketplace. This category recognizes corporations for embracing a gender lens throughout their value chains from sourcing to disposal. This award goes to a company, and our second runner-up for this category is Sony Pictures Networks. Dastan Goi is Sony's content learning brand launch to stimulate creativity and produce progressive content with diverse characters. The highlight to this is that these functions are predominantly driven by women at Sony.
Hello everyone. We are humbled by the recognition Sony Pictures Networks has received from the United Nations Women's Empowerment Principles Asia Pacific. I'm proud of the distinction as it not only makes us an employer of choice, but establishes and showcases our exceptional values in corporate culture at a global stage. Women empowerment does not simply entail granting of rights or freedom to an entire section of society that has been marginalized for centuries. It involves going beyond to nurture spaces where women feel safe, encouraged and empowered to grow their fullest potential. As a people-first organization, we are responsible for nurturing that kind of space at the workplace. Among other reasons, my motivation to strive for women empowerment roots from the glaring gap that exists in the participation of women in the national and global labor force and the obstacles that perpetuate this gap. The situation is further compounded by unequal care as well as gender pay gap, which are just the tip of iceberg. Luckily, we are privileged enough to have the opportunity to ensure that progress continues to happen on this front. As a woman, and as a people leader, I see women empowerment as an imperative that is intrinsically linked to building a better organization. I'm proud to say that at SPN, women empowerment initiatives are not just a matter of social justice. They are essential to our holistic growth strategy. In the recent years, we have seen more and more women climbing the corporate ladder, which has translated in our core content offerings, wherein better subjects of gender equality and women empowerment have been presented with sensitivity while helping break common gender stereotypes in our shows. Ultimately, creating a working environment where women are given equal opportunity for employment and equal pay is crucial for a sustainable future. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Wadhwa. The first runner-up in this category is Aspire for Her Management and Consultancy Private Limited. Entrepreneury by Aspire for Her is a network that offers free and easy access to resources, networking opportunities, mentorship, guidance, and community support to existing and aspiring women entrepreneurs. Congratulations, Aspire for Her, for this achievement.
At Aspire for Her, we motivate women to enter and stay in the workforce. And we want to add 1 million women to the workforce in India by 2025 by using the power of communities and networks. What motivated us to do this was India's terrible standing in the Global Gender Gap Index. We are 6th from the bottom in a list of 156 countries in terms of economic participation and empowerment of women. Women's workforce participation has been declining steadily for the past 15 years. As per the McKinsey Global Institute, this is a $1 trillion opportunity for India. And we would like to unleash that at Aspire for Her. Thank you, UN Women, for this wonderful award, which recognizes the work that we do every day. This means a lot to us. Thank you.
We now move towards the winner. And the winner in Gender Responsive Marketplace is Gajam India Private Limited. The award-winning intervention Jaya Alliance sets out to help over 1 lakh rural women transcend psychological and cultural barrier, provides interactive learning experiences to build new skill sets and offer access to jobs and entrepreneurship opportunities via the mobile application.
It's an honor to receive the WEP award from UN Women. It's women entrepreneurship is at the core of Dharma Life's model. We work with rural women and make them entrepreneurs and change makers in their communities, and then provide a platform for other women to seek opportunities to join the workforce. We believe that if women are empowered, the whole family gets empowered, and ultimately, if women lead the way, communities also get empowered and uplifted. So again, it's a privilege to receive this award, and thank you very much, UN Women.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. Ladies and gentlemen, our fourth category for the awards is Community Engagement and Partnerships. This category recognizes corporate champions that promote gender equality through community engagement and partnerships. This award goes to a company, and our second runner-up is Intel Technology India Private Limited for its Being Wise, Women Innovators and Social Entrepreneurs initiative. It entails building a consortium of organizations for women advancement and inclusion in STEM fields, predominantly from Tier 2 and 3 cities.
On behalf of Intel India, I want to express my gratitude for this recognition and award. The world over, we have seen an acknowledgement that gender diversity and equality are key for successes in any sphere. And we have also seen an evolution of strong advocates and policies from where we were decades ago to where we are today in this space. But there is a lot more to be accomplished when it comes to realizing a gender equal India. We still have only 25% of our workforce of women in a country where the population mix is almost at par. We have the opportunity to strengthen providing quality education, equal opportunities to girls, and ensuring a gender responsive society. I envision a gender equal India where we would have successfully eradicated barriers to girls' education and career advancement, and one where we have gender transformative policies, practices, and interventions within the government and corporate spheres so that women can not only achieve their potential but also become powerhouses for wider social transformation. Largely, we still talk about only two genders, when actually there is a whole spectrum of genders which need so much more openness and acceptance. The day we can truly be our whole self, irrespective of our social setting, is one where we will be truly a gender equal India.
Thank you, Ms. Rao. The first runner-up in this category is Sterlite Technologies Limited. Sterlite's Jeevan Jyoti Women Empowerment Program in Maharashtra aims to economically empower rural women through vocational skilling, personality development, soft skills, and confidence building, among others.
So first of all, I would like to thank UN Women for this award. It's really important for us to, cement our commitment for this much required issue. I think for a gender equal country, we need to look at the whole narrative of equality from a much broader lens. It starts with inclusion, and when I say inclusion, it means inclusion of young girls in schools, to roads as safe places, to giving equal rights to women on property, and also as equal opportunities as economic contributors. Having said this, I feel that we have made some progress in the sense that we are now talking about these issues, but achieving these goals call for a lot more, both at institutional and individual level. So, my vision for gender equal India would be, the day when we don't have to talk about these issues as something where we have to bring inclusivity for one particular gender, and where people are treated as people with no particular discrimination to any of these. That's the goal I have, where women lead it from the front as much as men do, and without a particular focus on any particular gender. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations, Sterlite Technologies Limited. We now move towards the winner. And the winner in Community Engagement and Partnership is the Very Group. Very Group winning initiative is the South Indian Textile Mill Project in Tamil Nadu. It creates awareness about ethical employment practices and proactively engage factories, mills and workers. It has established a grievance redressal mechanism providing workers a voice and access to remedy.
Hi everybody, I'm Carly Billsborough, Head of CSR for the Very Group. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to you today about gender equality in India. For the Very Group, gender equality means giving women and girls the opportunity to fulfil their full potential. For us, that means enabling them to make more informed choices and seize their own future and make the right decisions. The project we run in South India allows people to do this through the access of community centres, offering training, support, advice and guidance on things like financial literacy, IT skills and broader labour rights issues. For us, the future looks bright for women and girls in India, but we need to make sure we work in collaboration to really drive things forward and give them the opportunity to seize their futures and support India, the economy and their families.
Thank you, Ms. Carly Billsborough. Ladies and gentlemen, our fifth category for the awards is Transparency and Reporting. This category recognizes private sector champions that promote gender equality through transparency and reporting initiatives. The first runner-up in this category is Zensar Technologies. Zensar's intervention is around diversity and inclusion and reporting. It relaunched its diversity metrics with expanded indicators available at a dashboard that generates reports and provides insights to drive business results. Congratulations, Zensar.
Hi everyone, my name is Sanjana Vaidya and I work with Zensar Technologies. First of all, thank you so much to UN Women WEPs team for giving us this opportunity and recognizing our efforts in the inclusion space. So thank you for organizing this award ceremony team. Zensar is a leading IT solutions provider headquartered in Pune. We create experiences that put people first, aligned to our value of commitment to people and community, and that's why we believe it's important to measure and report gender equality actions as it contributes to better decision making. Measuring gender equality is the only tool to understand different dimensions of discrimination, prejudices, and bias. Measuring gender equality at workplace throws significant light onto fundamental areas like company culture, recruitment and promotion, training and mentoring, and so on. Also, transparency in reporting to us is to demonstrate more authenticity at work. It is also related to the open culture of our organization. It improves trust of the other person or entity to believe in the reports or data that you're sharing. Most importantly, by transparently reporting what you do, how you do, and what you aim to do, brings in more commitment automatically. So thank you so much, UN Women WEPs team, once again for this award ceremony.
We now move towards the winner. And the winner in transparency and reporting category is Biocon Limited. Biocon actively reports on its BioWin, Biocon Women initiatives focused on increasing the diversity ratio through unbiased hiring and retention practices. It also includes intervention around enhancing safety, work-life balance, career development, productivity, and performance. The progress on BioWin is regularly reported in the monthly newsletter and annual report of the organization.
I want to start by thanking the organizers of the UN Women APAC WEP Forum for recognizing us as a winner in Transparency and Reporting Category 2021. For us, women empowerment starts at the top with our founder and chairperson Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, who's one of the iconic leaders globally. Transparency is a value we live with, and it is something which is part of our life. But transparency in itself is not good enough. Transparency needs to come with measurement and reporting to enable people to understand where we are and what we need to do to go where we want to go. We have come a long way from where we were a few years back, but the journey ahead of us is equally long and filled with milestones which we need to achieve. This award will go a long way to encourage us to do all the things that we need to in this space and also emerge as a global leader in the days to come. In the next 10 years, we are looking at a gender ratio of 50% between male and female employees. And that means a bunch of new women leaders who are going to take us into the next phase of our growth journey. So looking forward to that, and thank you again for the award and the recognition.
Thanks, Mr. Saha. Ladies and gentlemen, our sixth category for the awards is Youth Leadership. The category recognizes youth leaders, young entrepreneurs, leaders of startups or young employees under 35 years who actively initiate and promote gender equality and women empowerment within their organizations, marketplace, and/or community. Our second runner-up in this category is Ms. Devyani Mehra, D&I Lead, Intel Technology India Private Limited. Ms. Devyani Mehra has led the design and implementation of Being Wise program by spearheading a consortium of organizations for women advancement and inclusion in STEM fields predominantly from Tier 2 and 3 cities.
Thank you so much for sharing the Youth Icon Award with me. I'm really honored and privileged to receive this. I'm equally proud to work for an organization like Intel that aims to continuously have the conversation on diversity and inclusion. Personally, I'm extremely passionate about it, and all of us who do read about gender equality, we will realize the potential that India as a country has if we just are able to move the needle in getting the women workforce into our organizations and actually aim for their advancement as we go along. There's enough and more emphasis on the financial impact, on the financial penalty if we don't have a gender diverse workforce. Being Wise is one of the initiatives at Intel India, which we conferred the Intel India leadership, commenced with the thought that every organization is trying to do something for gender diversity, female, male, the entire gender spectrum that we have. The conversation is not just limited now to two genders. However, over a period of time, we realize advocacy is great, conversations are great, but we do need actual measurable goals and we need the ecosystem to come together. With that in mind, Being Wise aims to do exactly that by building a consortium of industry organizations, of academia, of government, and I'm really excited to propel this journey even further and take it to greater heights. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Mehra. The first runner-up in this category is Ms. Kanika Ahuja, CEO, Conserve India. Kanika's goal for societal transformation in the textile sector is to make it more ethical and environmentally sustainable. Her artisan program for livelihood is currently underway in 4 states in India, with an overarching network of almost 4,500 artisans, 70% of whom are women, including waste workers, rural artisans, and refugees.
Hello everyone, I am Kanika Ahuja and I am the CEO of a social enterprise, Conserve India, and a lifestyle brand, Lifafa. Thank you for selecting my organization as the first runner-up in the youth leadership category. At Conserve, we work towards empowering communities by using waste as a resource. We specialize in accelerating the transition towards a circular economy for plastics and textiles at the grassroots level. At Conserve, we have developed a patented technology to convert single-use plastics to vegan leather. We have been able to upcycle 360 tons of plastic waste by empowering 1,200 grassroots waste workers and artisans. Our organization also deeply advocates for and empowers youth leaders to create micro-enterprises for social impact. If I had to choose one word that I would associate with gender equality, it would be prosperity. Prosperity is not just about generation of financial wealth, but also growth of social fiber of a community at large. Society as a whole should have the opportunity to realize their full potential without social shackles that hold them down. To be the way they are and have the freedom to dream, to do, to grow, and to enable others to do the same. We can imagine a world coming closer to being prosperous only if people themselves are equally allowed to prosper. Thank you so much.
Thank you and congratulations, Ms. Kanika Ahuja. We now move towards the winner. And the winner in Youth Leadership category is Ms. Pallavi Sharing, founder and CEO, Epicenter Rural India Private Limited. Ms. Sharing founded Epicenter to train women in villages and create handcrafted indigenous artworks.
Hi, I'm Pallavi Sharing, founder and CEO of Epicenter Rural India Private Limited. I would like to thank UN Women for selecting us for 2021 award. We are truly glad. To tell a little bit about myself, I hail from a small town called Pauri Garhwal in Uttarakhand. It's a beautiful hill station nestled in the foothills of Himalayas. Well, I've been traveling and working in villages for the past 10 years, and I've covered over 3,000 villages in India. I know the situation at the ground, and it is a little disappointing because out of 134 crore population in India, 65.13 is living in rural setups, out of which 48% is our rural women working in rural setups. But the problem is that the number of women working in rural India is declining at a greater pace than among the ones in the urban setups. So Epicenter is focused on partnering with these rural women artists and indigenous artists to bring their handcrafted products onto a social e-commerce platform. We are enabling these women to partner with us, and also we work with the urban women to co-create solutions with the women in the villages. That is our core of of our foundation. So gender equality actually forms the core of our foundation, and we do believe that when urban women and rural women can work together, when women work in leadership roles, when they have financial independence, the world will change and our economy will grow at a far faster pace. So I would like to thank UN Women again for giving us this platform, and we hope to grow leaps and bounds in coming years. Thank you.
Our final category is Sme Champions. Across all the 6 categories, we also recognize 3 women-led small, medium and micro enterprises as champions for their excellent work. And let me announce the Sme Champion winners. Our first Sme Champion in leadership is Ms. Namita Vikas, founder and managing director, Octus ESG LLP Leadership. Ms. Namita Vikas, through her consulting firm, encourages women's participation and inclusion in sustainable finance.
On behalf of everyone at Octus ESG, it is indeed an honor to receive the WEP India SME Champions Award by the UN Women. A big heartfelt thank you. As a young firm, Octus ESG has carved a space for itself in a sector that remains largely male-dominated. This has been possible because of a healthy, gender-balanced and a positive workplace environment. This is, of course, in addition to the hard work and the dedication shown by each team member over the last 1 year. Gender equality is about going beyond lip service and providing women the space and the opportunity to succeed. At the same time, it is equally important to nurture and support them throughout their life cycle at work. I have always been driven by the belief that when women are empowered, impact is felt at multiple levels. Empowerment comes through creating avenues for women to access capital, build a community of financially literate women, ensure diversity and inclusion at workplace, or preferably a combination of all of this and more. It is about time that gender equality becomes the norm, and this is the point that Octus ESG is driving home. With a workforce of 60% women across all levels and an all-women team of expert associates, the firm has endeavored to lead by example. Since the organization is still in its nascent stage, there remains much to be done. And our immediate plan is to develop a gender action plan to formalize its practices so far. As a signatory to the WEP, the firm aims to learn and share gender equality practices in order to drive the agenda forward in non-conventional sectors such as banking and finance. Once again, thank you very much, and we truly appreciate you awarding us with this honor. Thank you.
Our second SME champion in community is Conserve India. Conserve India started Lifafa, which creates sustainable fashion while providing livelihoods to women from vulnerable communities of waste pickers and asylum seekers through upcycling one-time use plastic waste.
Hello everyone, I am Kanika Ahuja and I am the CEO of a social enterprise called Conserve India and a lifestyle brand called Lifafa. Thank you for selecting my organization as a SME champion for India in the community category. At Conserve, we work towards empowering communities by using waste as a resource. We specialize in accelerating the transition towards a circular economy for plastics and textiles at the grassroots level. At Conserve, we have developed a patented technology to convert single-use plastics into a type of vegan leather. We have been able to upcycle 360 tons of plastic waste by empowering 1,200 grassroots waste workers and artisans. If I had to choose one word that I would associate with gender equality, it would be prosperity. Prosperity is not just about generation of wealth, but growth of social fiber of a community at large. Society as a whole should have the opportunity to realize their full potential without social shackles that hold them down. To be the way they are and have the freedom to dream, to do, to grow, and to enable others to do the same. We can imagine a world coming closer to being prosperous only if people themselves are equally allowed to prosper. Thank you so much for this.
Our third SME champion community is Simply Suparna Media Network. Simply Suparna started womenindangered.org, a platform to affect behavioral change through events, workshops, videos, and gender-inclusive content.
Thank you so much, UN Women WEP Awards, for this acknowledgement. My guru has taught me that Shiva and Shakti are two distinct entities, yet they are inseparable from each other. But it seems we seem to have lost this ancient wisdom down the road somewhere, and it is imperative that we bring Shakti back into the mainstream. Because Shiv without Shakti is essentially just a shove. Without its energy, it is nothing. I'm grateful to my Shaktis in my life, my mother and my daughter Sarah, without whom we couldn't have done any of this, whether it be creating a platform talking about menstrual hygiene or promoting sustainable menstrual hygiene products in marginalized sectors to corporates, acknowledging large companies for adopting gender diverse policies, making their workplace more gender equitable, or essentially trying to effect a change in behavior communication as far as gender inclusion and diversity is concerned. Let's hope together we can build a gender equitable world that our children can inherit. Thank you again so much for this acknowledgement, because these kind of acknowledgements for small entities like us are great motivators for us to continue to do what we are doing in our humble ways.
In the build-up to 2021 UN Women WEPs India Awards, UN Women team reached out to a wider audience and stakeholders through social media channels for their views on women's leadership in businesses. Let's hear from UN Women team.
In keeping with the spirit of the WEPs Awards, UN Women India launched a series of polls posted across Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn and Instagram from 5th to 14th October for the views of social media users on women's leadership in businesses. We had wide viewership for each of the 5 polls we put out, gaining more than 16,000 views and 820 votes. Our first poll focused on the gender wage gap in India. The gender wage gap means women are routinely paid less than men for the same work. We asked our audience what they thought the current gender pay gap was in India.
These results show that around 51% of people chose 33.3% as the right option, indicating that there is an awareness among people about the issue. The correct answer is 20.7%. In India especially, the gap is exacerbated by the social and structural discrimination that women have to face. Globally, women invest 3 times more on unpaid care work than men. So, for our second question, we asked our audience how much more time than men they thought Indian women spent on unpaid care work.
Nearly 50% of people voted for 9.8 times, which is the correct answer. Women spend a disproportionate amount of time, compared to men, on care work, which is ironically the hidden engine that contributes significantly to individual economic and social well-being. Therefore, policy should address the rising need for care and tackle the huge disparity between women's and men's care responsibilities.
While technology emerged as a key tool in the response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the gender-digital divide can make it harder for women to recover from the pandemic's adverse effect. In our third poll, we asked our audience, compared to 62% of men, what percentage of women in India they thought have ever used the internet.
Around 59% of the audience chose 38% as the answer. However, only 31% chose 43% as the answer, which is the correct one. Providing equitable access to smartphones and the internet will equip women with the knowledge and resources they need to effectively participate in the economy. Our fourth poll asked the audience what they thought was the biggest obstacle women face in assuming leadership roles.
Around 47% of people voted for unconscious bias, which reinforced the fact that mindset change is critical to advance women's prospects for equal economic opportunities, although other factors play a critical role as well. In fact, in our conversations with WEP signatories, we found that the significant number of signatories recognize that unconscious bias is one of the biggest challenges in enabling women's leadership, and have started taking action to address the same.
The final poll question asked the audience why it matters to have equal participation of women across all levels.
Nearly 70% of people have voted for the option of human rights. This is important because gender equality and women's empowerment is a human rights issue at its very core. Increasing female employment has played a role in reducing poverty, sustaining economic growth, and in supporting women's empowerment and independence.
Now, as we have come to the closure of the event, I would like to invite Ms. Suhaila Khan, Country Program Manager, We Empower Asia at UN Women, for the vote of thanks and closing remarks.
Thank you, Prerna, and a very big congratulations to all the winners, runner-up, and SME champions. You are truly paving a way forward for how companies can advance the agenda of women's economic empowerment and gender equality. I also take this opportunity to thank the European Union, our donor and partner for this initiative under We Empower Asia program, which is implemented in 7 countries of Asia Pacific. I would also like to extend my sincerest gratitude to all the speakers who took time to attend the awards ceremony today to recognize the efforts of the winning companies in pushing forward change that is bold, innovative, sustainable, and inclusive. None of this would have been possible without our esteemed judges, who weighed in with their rich expertise and experience and evaluated over 60 applications across 6 diverse categories. And of course, a big thanks to all 90 companies who applied for the awards. We are both humbled and heartened by your overwhelming response. The sheer volume of applications that we received show us that businesses today are committed to promote gender equality at workplace, marketplace, and communities. And we are very delighted to welcome you to the WEPs community and to continued collaboration, learning, and partnership to make women's economic empowerment a part of our business as usual. Finally, a big thanks to all the colleagues at UN Women in India, regional office, and to all of you, the viewers, for joining us and celebrating together. Thank you so much and stay safe.